我们敬礼传承祖师，敬礼了明和尚，敬礼
Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, homage to the Venerable Mang Liaoming,
16世大宝号
homage to Master Sakya Zhengkong,
敬礼图登大吉上师，
homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa,
坛城三宝，
and homage to Master Drupten Dorji,
今天同修的本尊，
homage to the main deity of the good practice tonight,
西方极乐世界阿弥陀如来，
Amitabha Tathagata of Sukawati, the western realm of utmost bliss.
三真嘎措图登
Sumo Tanchen Gatso Tutan
各位
City,
上师、教授师、
all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and chapters,
还有网络上的同门，
and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good evening. How do you do?
你好，大家好。愛してる。사랑해。오라미코。게게로무초。すごい。一番。気持ちいい。準備。やっぴ。プリンプリン。こんばんは。今天我们看了这个生活部业障，还有
Today we watch the animations produced by D.B. Boye and True Buddha Foundation.
有一个感想，
and I had this thought
现在都做得很不错
that what they produced was quite good.
其实不管是写书
Actually, doesn't whether you're writing books or giving Dharma teaching,
任何一个单位都是要有文献。
any organization should you need a promotion.
没有媒体的宣传
Because in the today's world, if you don't have a promotion,
没有促销
if there's no marketing,
就是报销
we can say that without promotion, you'll be
在现在的这个整个社会
because in today's world, we all have to rely on promotion and advertisement or marketing.
你文章写得再怎么样
Doesn't matter how well you write,
如果没有这个宣传
without
也是一
promotion,
样的
it will be end up the same way.
能够知道里面所含的
That there would only be a very small number of people who would understand what's
如果有
inside
文
it.
宣的话，这个宣传很重要，
Therefore, promotion is extremely
让
important
更多人看到了
so that more people would be able to see.
可以讲
or would be able to get to
佛
know.
法能够
And we can
传
say
遍
that
其实也是需要
in order to widely spread the Buddha
文
Dharma,
宣的。
we also have to rely on promotional
这不只
activities.
是说生活不业障的工作，
So it's not just the responsibility of the Biboye or True Buddha Foundation, but all temples, chapters, centers of True Buddha School, and moreover, even every Dharma propagator and even every True Buddha disciple should do it. So it's not just the duties of the Biboye and True Buddha Foundation, but it is for all the temples, chapters, centers, all Dharma propagators and all disciples should be able to do it, or should do it. Only this way you would be able to widely spread the authentic, the true Buddha Dharma all over the world. And tonight we practice Amitabha Dharma. Actually, the Sukhavati of Amitabha is known to everybody. All Buddhists would know it because of the Amitabha Sutra, the Sutra of Infinite Life as spoken by the Buddha, the Deliverance Treatise, all these scriptures. And we know at Sukhavati there are three reliant deities: Amitabha Buddha, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, and Mahastama Bodhisattva. And there are four levels of Pure Lands, which altogether is called the Sukhavati. So the Pure Land of Eternal Serene Light, the Magnificent Land of Real Rewards, the Abundant Pure Land for Convenience, and the Mixed Land where the sages live with the mundane beings. If your karma has been eradicated, you can be reborn in the Pure Land. But even when you still have karma, you can also be reborn in the Pure Land. So Sukhavati, we can consider Sukhavati is a place where both sages and mundane beings can go to. It is the best kind of realm. So of the 8 main deities, the first one is Amitabha Buddha. And we refer, Grandmaster refers to him as the king of all Buddhas because he delivered the most sentient beings.
Let
me share a joke first. The judge asked the witness at the court, have you ever been caught? And he replied, no. Have you been in court before? And he replied, no, it's the first time. And the judge said, but you look so familiar. I must have seen you before and not just once, though. And then he
我以
replied,
前是在一家汽车旅馆当柜台。
Oh, I was
法官一听，
a receptionist at the motel.
好啦，你回去了，没话说。
And then the judge, upon hearing that, just let him go.
法官也是人，
So even the judge is also a human being.
5岁的儿子第一次来到动物园，
The
走
5-year-old
到了
son
黑天鹅区，
went to the zoo for the first
高
time.
兴地跟爸爸讲
And
爸爸你快来看。
then he
看什么呢？
saw
这位5岁的儿子跟爸爸讲，那就是我们常常吃的姜母鸭。
oh, a black swan. And the son said, Daddy, take a look. And what is that?
姜母鸭是
Oh,
黑色
that's
的吗？
like the stewed duck in Taiwan.
是不
Is
是
it black? Is it black color? The stew, the duck soup.
啊，现在讲了是，有一只壁虎，
There is a lizard
这个掉到了一个鳄鱼池，
that fell into a pond of crocodiles.
它快要没命了。
And that's the end of its life. And he got really quick with it. And then he hugged the crocodile and said, Mom.
这鳄鱼认住了，
And the
立刻
crocodile
老
stopped
泪纵横。
and started to
纵横
cry
儿子啊，你
and
怎么会
said,
瘦成这样？
Oh, my son, how come you became so tiny
叫
and
你不要
skinny?
玩股票，
Told you never to play in the stock
折
market.
磨成这样子。
And look how miserable you look now.
你看玩股票，有人玩股票，
So some people play
玩
in the
这个
stock market
虚拟的这个货币，
like a
本来是
metaverse.
鳄鱼，
And you were a crocodile
小心
beforehand.
会变成壁
But be
虎。
careful, you may become a lizard.
也有一个笑话，我记得
And I remember another joke.
这个壁虎到底是不是老虎？
Is a lizard a tiger?
啊
In
壁虎当然
Chinese,
不
it's
是
like
老虎，
wall tiger. A lizard in Chinese.
但是它有一个虎字，它有一个老虎字。
He's of course not a tiger, but in his name there's a tiger, wall tiger.
所以我们称这个怕老婆的，
So we call people who are afraid of their wives to be a lizard.
它也是老虎，不过
Although he's also a
家里的
tiger,
母
but
老家里的母老虎是真的是母老虎，
the
只
tigress
是
at
我们是
home
壁虎。
are more of a tiger, and we
那
are
现在
just
进入
lizards.
主题，马来西亚
Now
莲花干名，
we'll get on to the question
弟子请问师
from
父，
Malaysia.
地藏四部经包括了《延命地藏经》、除本愿经、
that
释
the
迦牟尼
four
佛说经的各
versions
节
of the
缘起，其
Siddhikapa
持诵
Sutra
功德分别是什么？许多弟子因为本愿经太长，可以用延命经取代吗？其中延命经中，长恶跟长善童子
The Siddhikapa Sutras include the Siddhikapa Sutra to extend lifespan, and except the Siddhikapa original vow sutra and the different affinity as spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha. What are different merits from reciting these different variations of the sutras? And because the Sutra of the Fundamental Vows of Siddhikapa Bodhisattva is very long, can we instead chant the other sutras?
这个地藏菩萨有一本经，就是《地藏菩萨本愿经》了啊。
So Siddhikapa has a sutra called the Fundamental Vows of Siddhikapa Bodhisattva Sutra. Let me tell you, you should not, strictly speaking, you should not replace that sutra with another sutra. I remember one time the Venerable Elder In Shun, who lived next to my house, one time I brought several sutras to show him. To show to the In Shun master. And one of them was what was it called?
什么业障差别经？有没有这本经？
Like the differences of Karma Sutra? Is there a sutra like that?
三茶轮业报善恶经。OK。 反正你们讲出来就对了。
Yeah, whatever sutra that you said. I remember there was a sutra and I showed it to this Master In Shun.
那也把延命经拿给印顺导师看。
And also the Siddhikapa Sutra to extend lifespan.
印顺导师是这样子讲。
And Master In Shun said,
这些经 不一定是释迦牟尼佛讲。
The sutras are not necessarily spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha.
不一定是释迦牟尼佛讲。
That's all he said. Not necessarily by Sakyamuni Buddha.
后人伪造的经典。
It's very possible that they were created
这些经典
by latter people. So that's why you cannot just haphazardly say that the sutras were spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha. Like hiking, Guan Yin Sutra was not spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha. That was transmitted in the dream. That the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas give guidance to a person who wrote the sutra. So we say it that is a sutra transmitted through a dream. It was not spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha. So according to Master In Shun, the Siddhikapa Sutra to extend lifespan is not necessarily spoken by the Buddha. I remember there was a great Buddhist master in China by the family name Lu. Lu Chen, his name. And he had made the statement. I think he wrote a book, 灵言百味. From Lankatara Sutra, there were 100 questionable areas. So the 100 questionable points are in the Lankatara Sutra. And that's a very famous sutra. And yet, this person, Lu Chen, can discover, because the statements was very literate, very scholarly, that was not possible in the ancient time. So Grandmaster, although can ask the Buddha's Bodhisattva, but I cannot just say it randomly, because Master In Shun was very serious about his study and had researched a lot of the studies of the ancient Indian Buddhist philosophy. So of the 4 sutras of Siddhigarbha, one of them, which is the Sutra of the Fundamental Vows of Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva, was spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha, Siddhigarbha Purva Pranidhana Sutra. But the rest, not sure. So therefore, you cannot replace one with the other. Although you prefer shorter one. And the 2 youths who are in charge of evil and goodness in the sutra, are they the same as the 2 youths in the Fundamental Vow Sutra? Well, since the sutras are not interchangeable, so we cannot tell, or we should not talk about whether the youths in the different sutras are the same. So if you want to chant Siddhigarbha Sutra, then chant the Siddhigarbha Purva Pranidhana Sutra, because the rest we're not sure. When we chant sutras, like the Vajra Sutra, for example, all the sutras include the extensive, the condensed, and then the essence. So the extensive one, or the unabridged one, is the Mahaprajna Paramita Sutra. The condensed version is the Vajra Sutra, and the quintessence is the Heart Sutra. So, as for the Siddhigarbha Sutra, to extend lifespan, is not regarded as a sutra spoken by the Buddha by many Buddhist elders. And because of that, you should not use it to replace the Siddhigarbha Purva Pranidhana Sutra. That's all I can answer about your question from Malaysia. Today, we will talk about the Vajra Sutra, chapter 19. Across all Dharma realms. It's not very long, so let me read it all. Subhuti, what do you think? If one fills the 3,000 great thousand worlds with the 7 kinds of precious jewels as an act of giving, this person has the causes and conditions to obtain enormous merit, does he not? Subhuti replied, yes, world honored one. This person has the causes and conditions to obtain enormous merit. And the Buddha asks again, Subhuti, the Tathagata says that merit is enormous when it is not real. But were it real, the Tathagata would not say that the merit is enormous. Short chapter. Chapter 19, Across All Dharma Realms. So this writing here is quite similar to chapter 8. Don't you think so? In chapter 8, he said, if one fills the 3,000 great thousand walls with the 7 kinds of precious jewels as an act of giving, he also talks about merits. And in chapter 8, it talks about comparing this with upholding and reciting the Vajra Sutra. Which one has more merit? So if one fills the 3,000 great thousand walls with the 7 kinds of precious jewels as an act of giving, of course his merits will be enormous, but he's still lost compared to someone who uphold and expound the Vajra Sutra. That's in chapter 8. And now in chapter 19, the comparison is this. Subhuti, the Tathagata says that merit is enormous when it is not real. But were it real, the Tathagata would not say that the merit is enormous. If the merit or the merits and blessings are real, then the Tathagata will not say that they are enormous. Why? Because when the merit is not real, that's why the Tathagata says that the merit is enormous. Can you understand what the Buddha was talking about? So Subhuti already said enormous merit. But the Buddha told Subhuti, the Tathagata says that merit is enormous when it is not real. But were it real, the Tathagata would not say that the merit is enormous. What is he talking about here? What does it mean? If you can explain, there's a gift. Wow, it's Jambala. Fortune God, wealth deity. And 2 ancient money. This is very precious. And I blow my breath on it. So this statement, if you can explain, you will have this. Ambassador.
《金刚经》佛陀是为发大圣的人讲的。
The Vajra Sutra was spoken by Buddha who are on the great vehicle to attain Anuttara Samyakpa Sambodhi, which is the highest enlightenment. So the Dharma of the universe is not long or short, it's not. It's like this.
根本没有时间来
So
夸
in
张来
deliverance
去
of
计
sentient
算。
beings, you continue to deliver and
这一位
continue, and you have no time to
皇帝
think
说他盖了
or
多
to
少
count how
庙，
many
他有没
number.
有福德？人
Like
家
the
说你没有
Emperor
福
Wu
德。
of Liang,
达摩
how
说你
many
有，
temples have
对，可
been
以计
built
量
and
福
does
德，
he have merit?
不算
And
多。
Bodhidharma
你可以去
said
算
no.
我这个福德那个福德，那我这
So
我
when
这个是
you
真实的福德，
continue
我盖
to
了庙，我
count
捐
and
了肚子，
accumulate,
我捐了什么，可以计量的，他就不说你多了。
then
所
there's
谓
not many.
福德就是你做了不讲不讲不讲，一直做一直做一直做一直做，
So you
是有
just
福
do
德，
it and you
无量的
accumulate
福
and you
德，
don't
那
talk
个才
about
叫
it,
做多，
then there
那
would
个
be
才是真的
infinite.
福德。这就是
Then
金刚
only
经的
there
真
would be
意，
a lot
就是
and there would be a true
无助的布施，
merits and
无
blessings.
相的布施，无助的生活，
So
无德的修行。你这样去做的时候，
it's
这些
giving
功德是看不见的，自己也不讲
without
的，像虚空一样多，
dwelling.
那才叫福德呀！感谢师尊。
So you continue to do it so
我
that
讲得很
there's so
正确
much,
啊。
and only that would be called blessings
那
and
这一条
merit.
又是给你的，
Oh, that's vague. That's good. This is for you.
好。释迦牟尼佛讲这一句，
Sakyamuni Buddha
你不要按
said
照他的
this
经文。
statement.
刚刚大师已经讲，
Don't follow the wordings in the sutra.
真正有福德的人，
And the ambassador
从来
said,
不去讲福德，
people who truly have
这个就是无助。
merit never talks about merit,
你无
and
助
that
去
is
布施。
non-dwelling. And you perform acts of
我
giving
不是
without
为
dwelling.
了什么去布施，
So
不是
you
为了
don't
福德
give
才去
for
布施
any
的，
reason, for any
这
particular
样子
reason,
就是福
not
德多。
because to
你
obtain
如果是
blessings
为
or
了什
merits.
么而去
Then you
布
would
施的，
get
那个福德
you
就
would
少
get
了，
a lot of merit.
甚
But
至于没有
if
福
you
德。
give for a specific reason, then the merit is small
这
or
整段
no
句
merit.
就是无助。
So the whole statement here means
释迦牟尼佛在
non-dwelling.
教大家，无助
So
相布
Sakyamuni
施，
Buddha is teaching us to
无
give
助相布施。
without dwelling.
那个第八呢，是用比较。
In chapter 8,
若人买
he used
3000大千
comparison.
世界七宝，以用布施，
If
功德
someone fills the
多
3,000 great thousand world
没有错。
with 7 kinds
基
of
督讲的
precious
也没有
jewels,
错，功德很多，
that would generate tremendous merit.
但是还输给
But
念金刚经、
uh,
读诵金刚经、
it is
诵持
less
金刚经的
than
人，
the merit
那
of
是两个比
someone
较。
who uphold and recite
这个
the
第
Vajra Sutra.
八品，意思就是两个人在
So
比
in
较，
chapter 8,
就是
there
两
are
个
two, a comparison of
这
the
一回
two.
讲的
But
是
this
无
time
助相布施，
it talks about the
那个就是
giving without dwelling.
福德多。
Then you have tremendous merit.
有助相布施，
And if you give
如
with
来就讲，
dwelling, the
如来
Tathagata
不说
says,
得福德多，因为
then
那个福德
that's
有
not
限。
enormous because the merit is limited.
所以我们不管做什么事情，
So it doesn't matter
啊
what we
不
do,
是为了福德去做的，
we do it not for the merit.
我们按照自己的修行的本分去做，
We
也不
just
求
do
什
it
么回报。
according to what is supposed to be done as a spiritual cultivator.
如果
And
你
you
为了
don't
什么
ask for
而去
anything
做
in
的，
return.
那个就是
Then you would have enormous merit.
如来不
But if
说
you
得
do
福
it
德多，
for a
以
certain
福德
purpose,
无故，
then, as the Tathagata says, the merit is not enormous.
根本就没有福德。
Then there
因为
is no
达
merit.
摩祖师才讲说，那个像梁武帝，他建了那么多的寺庙，
That's why
他在那
Bodhidharma
个
said
南
to
朝
Emperor Wu of Liang,
啊，南朝的时候
that the emperor built so many temples in the South Dynasty and took care of so many Sangha member, monastic people. And when he asked Bodhidharma, how is my merit? And Bodhidharma replied, no merit whatsoever. Because you did it to obtain merit. Therefore, how can it be any merit? There is no merit whatsoever. So you do it for no reasons, then you would have enormous merit. But if you do it for a specific purpose or for any purpose or reason, there's no merit. It's very simple. This part. But how about the title, chapter 19? Across all Dharma realms. What does it mean? Why is the title across all Dharma realms? Because according to the content, it should be, does the merit exist or not? But why did they call it across all Dharma realms? What is it related to the existence or non-existence of the merit? Of course it's related. So, across the Dharma realms, there is no merit whatsoever. In all the Dharma realms. Let's just give a simple example. The moon, the earth, the 9 planets in the solar system. Which planet would have merit? Neptune, Venus, Mars, Moon, the Earth. What merit does the Earth have? So, of the planets, the Earth is also one of them, right? We're now only talking about the solar system. But about the Dharma realms, you don't know how big that is. I heard there are 100 suns. And our sun belongs to a solar system. And then there's like a boundary around it, like borders around it, that you cannot get out of it. It's the end. There's like a layer of, it's like a layer of atmosphere, stratosphere that you cannot get through. So even the whole solar system has no merit whatsoever. How about the little grain of sand? And we know on the moon there's not a single being, and no one has ever discovered any living being on the moon. So let me ask you, is there merit or blessings on the moon?
你讲给我听啊，月球上有什么福德？
Can you tell me?
那么反过来讲，你地球上有什么福德？
And on the other hand, is there any merit on
你
the
看那
earth?
个苏俄跟这个跟乌克兰，
Look
苏俄
at
跟乌克兰两边战争，
Russia and Ukraine are at war.
那不过是粪坑里面的两条虫在那边打架。
And they're actually just two maggots inside the cesspool fighting each other.
粪坑里面的两条虫在那边打架。
Just two maggots inside the cesspool fighting each other.
在宇宙看起来是根本是。
With respect to the whole universe, it's just nothing.
所以你眼光大，你如果
So if you had a broad, expansive view, Buddha Dharma is truly boundless and limitless. No limit.
就是法界通化。
And that's
法界通化。
across all Dharma realms.
我小时候啊，有看到这个
When I was
红蚂
little,
蚁跟黑蚂蚁
I
两边的蚂蚁
had
打
seen
架。
the fightings of the red ants and the black
家
ants.
里住在高雄林森横路，
When I was little, I lived at the Ling
台湾电力
Shen
公司的
Ching
宿舍。
Road in Kaohsiung, the dorms
那
of
时
the
候
Taiwan
宿舍那时候还
Power
没有什么
Company.
那个，但是蚂蚁爬来爬去，常常看到你掉一个糖下去，很多
Ants
蚂蚁马上就
all
过来。
around. If you drop
在
a
台
piece
湾
of
也有这种现
sugar,
象哦，
there are many
你
ants
这个
would immediately
掉一个糖
appear.
在那个，
This
好像
often happens in
有蚂蚁
Taiwan,
就过来，有没有？
right?
有蚂蚁就会过来。所以我家里哦，那个
So
我们那个中
around
庭，我家
my
那个中
house
庭，
at the courtyard,
红蚂蚁跟黑蚂蚁两边打。
the red
哦，
ants
打得很
fought
激烈，
with the black
这
ants,
个
and
真
it
的
was
是
a
血流
fierce
成
battle.
河，
Oh, streams of blood
血流成河啊！这个尸体呀、那个死掉的
and
蚂
the
蚁啊，天
corpses
部啊，
of ants
那
all
两边蚂
over,
蚁，哇，这样子红的跟黑的互相咬，
and the ants were biting each other
我是加速他们的这个。我个人
ferociously.
就是那时候小孩子啊，
I was a little kid,
两边蚂蚁
very
在打架
naughty,
结束你们的战争。
and seeing two groups of ants fighting each other, wanting to stop them. So I put papers and I burned on two ants, and they all died. So I'm still continuing to deliver them until now,
那时候不懂啊，
because I didn't
看到
know
蚂
that.
蚁这样子走，
I saw the ants
那边
walk
蚂蚁走
by
过来，那边蚂蚁走过
and
去，
ants from over
围
there
墙旁边就放了一些纸，
near the
然后这
fence,
边染，这边染，
and then I
一
would
直
place
烧过来就
paper
哇，
and burn it on both ends, and they all died.
你看，有人知道，那你们知不知道这种事？知不知道？
Do you know
小时
these
候
things
这个
happen?
用纸烧过蚂蚁的举手。
If you have used paper to burn ants when you were little, please raise your hand. Oh, so many?
真的，我那时候囡仔吼，囡仔人哦，作业看到迄高兄弟迄围墙那边线那边爬，这样子就用
They crawl
用
on
纸，然后
the
这边烧这边烧，让
on
它
the
走投无路，
on
然后全部都
the
烧成一堆。
fence
你用
on the
你用 DDT 喷的，哦，
on the
啊，
you use
你
DDT
用
to
你用
spray
热
on
水
them.
灌蚂蚁洞，哇，
You
这个
use
更残忍。
boiling water over the ant hole. Oh, that's quite cruel.
我问大家，跟天地、跟天地神子有什么关系？
How is it related to heaven
很
and
小的
earth
生命，你
and
从蚂蚁的生命再
the
看看人的
universe?
生命，
It's a tiny,
其实人的生命也是很小的生命呢。
you know, from the ants you can deduce to
但人命
the
也不值什
human
么钱，
beings. Actually, lives of
人
human
命也不
beings
值
are
什么
also
钱。
minuscule. It's quite
你看那个战
worthless.
争一来，很
With
残
the
酷
war, it's really
啊，我们都觉得说，哎呀，
quite cruel.
真的不需要有这样子的战争。
We think that it's really not necessary
物以类悲啊，
because the people who died are the same. We are all human beings. Why
哪
do
有这
we
种想法？
get on each other,
但是人
right? Fight
有
each
时
other.
候也是自作孽，
But
搞
sometimes
什么那个
people
核子弹啊，
create
搞什么
problems
那
with
个
themselves.
这个化
Why
学
did
武
they do
器啊，
something like
化武
nuclear weapons
化
and
学武
chemical
器搞化
weapons?
化学武器、
Why are they
化武，搞这个核武，
into all those
你自取
nuclear
灭
and
亡嘛，
chemical
那自
weapons?
作孽，自作孽不可
So
活啊！
you are creating
你看，
troubles for yourself,
就
so
是
you
COVID-19
can't live on.
就已经把人类整的都差不多了啦。
Even just COVID-19 has already created enough trouble for
上班的不像上班的，
humanity. The students are not
像我
like
们弘法的
students,
都
the
走不
workers
出
are
去。
not the workers, and the Dharma
以前
propagators
世界跑的
cannot
弘法，到世界各国去弘法，
do what they're supposed to do. In the past, we can go all over the world. Now, or
那进去
before,
都难啊，
countries are in lockdown, and it's quite difficult to get in.
那被关了2年。这个
And we've been in
COVID-19 已经被
isolation
关了
for
2年。
2 years due to COVID-19.
关到最后，那学生哦，就真的讲了一句话：呆若木鸡呀、
You know,
在家
at
里
the end, even
关
the
了2年，学
students
生被关了2年。
become
那上班的关在自己家里上班，
dumb
像
or
这个
useless.
Microsoft，他还没有完
Or
全
the
说到
employees,
公司去上
workers,
班嘛，
they work at home. Like Microsoft, they have
还
not
是没有啊，有
started
的还是在家里上班，
work at
在家里上
the
班了
company.
2年了，没有跟同事见面了，
So they
我
haven't
看精神
seen
都
each
快要
other for 2
快要完
years.
蛋了。
That mentally it would
人
be
跟人不能互相
quite
来往，
affected.
那一种
So there's no
那一
more
种
social interaction.
那种萎缩，心灵的萎缩，真的是
So it would
很残
be
忍。
psychologically affecting people. That's quite
所以你看，
quite
这个标题就是
quite
法
brutal.
界通话，法界通话，
So the title is Across All Dharma
广
Realms.
大无边的法界通话，
And Buddha
就是这个道
Dharma
理。
is boundless and infinite. And it's across all Dharma realms. That's
所以你们体会了什么呢？现在体会了什么？
So now, have you understood? Don't be so small-minded or such small hearts.
没有不可通融的事情，没有不可宽容的事情啊。
There isn't anything that you cannot tolerate, anything that you cannot forgive. Why is your mind and heart as small as the ants that you have to fight?
放宽呐，
Just open up.
不要眼睛像绿豆眼，
Don't have such
眼
small
睛啊，这个本来
views
就很大的，
like the mung beans.
这个
Grandmaster
眼皮
used to
啊
have
老了以后就下垂，
bigger eyes,
眼
and
皮
now
下垂
my
就更
eyelids
像活菩
droop,
萨。
so I look more like the Buddhas and the
人家一
Bodhisattvas.
见，很少活菩萨眼睛
My
长得很
eyes
大
form a
的，
line
都是
now.
眯眯眼这样往下看。
Only very few Buddhas and Bodhisattvas
人不
have
要
big
像
eyes.
眼睛
They
不要
always
小，
look
像绿
down.
豆那么小，眼界那
But
么
don't
小。
be so small-minded
法
and
界无穷
so
尽，
short-sighted.
法界通化，佛法广大无边，
So the Dharma realms are boundless.
很
The
宽
Buddha
大。
Dharma is boundless,
千万不要
infinite.
学蚂蚁，
Don't be like the ants.
千万不要学乌龟。
Don't be like the turtles.
乌龟两个眼睛只是看自己前面，
The turtles only look at right in front of him.
这个心量，大家要学宽容啊！佛法是宽容，是广大无边。
So everyone should learn
都可以包容。
to open up and to
人
have
就是啊，
more
不能够
tolerance and
宽容，
equanimity,
国家跟国家之间
So
才会有战争。
because you
不能
cannot
够宽容，
embrace.
家
That's
之
why
间
there are
才会有
wars
革
between
命。
countries, because
不
you
能够
cannot
宽容，
embrace.
人
That's
跟
why
人之
there
间
is problems
才会
within
有
the
仇恨，
families, and because you cannot embrace
才
and
会有仇
tolerate.
怨。
That's why you have hatreds
而师
and
尊学习的是这样，
animosities between
对每一
individuals.
个人都好。
So Grandmaster learns to be nice and good to everyone,
包括那个人很坏，
even
我还是要对他好。
to bad people or evil people. I would still be kind and good to them.
所以师尊曾经在法座上，在台湾雷藏寺讲过一句话：
So on the Dharma throne at the Taiwan Lezang Temple,
绝
Grandmaster
对
once
不会
said,
去告人家。
Grandmaster Lu will never ever
为什么
sue
我不告
anyone,
人家？
file a
那时
lawsuit
候莲
against
吉上
anyone.
师就在旁边，
Never.
我下法座，他就跟我讲：
At that time, when I got off the Dharma throne, Master Lianji told
人
me,
家会告你，
you're wrong. Other people
你不告
will
人家，人家告
sue
你，
you. You don't sue others,
那
but
算我
others will sue
算
you.
我倒霉啊！
That would be my bad luck then.
没关系，让人家告吧。
It's okay. Let them
我告
file
诉
the
你，
lawsuit.
告人家会给人家痛苦。
But when you file a lawsuit
你
against
告那个人，
someone,
那个
you
人一定很痛苦，他一定要想办法解决这个
you
关系，
bring suffering or misery to that
他一
person.
定会痛苦。所以我自己也忏悔啊，我以
So
前
that's
写文章也
for
批评过人，
that's why I
我批
repent,
评人的时
I
候，人
repented
家一定很痛苦。
because in the past I also criticize
所以我
others,
以
and
后
when
就
I
不跟鬼
do,
佛罗雷
that
咪，
would make other people
我就不
miserable.
用再每一年跟他这样罗雷咪。
So I will not do this do re mi anymore to the
写了
ghost
那5
witch.
本书，
I will not
对吗？
ridicule her anymore. Was it right
真
or
的是没有
wrong
办
to
法
write
会。
those 5 books? It's hard to say. It's hard to tell.
还有我以前写过《金刚怒目集
And in the past, I also》，
批
wrote
评了
the
很多人，也批判了
the angry faces of the Herukas. So I have criticized many, Nian Yun, and also the Xing Yun, master of Ho Guangshan. I should not have done so. So before you make criticism, remember, don't bring any suffering upon anyone. So on the Dharma throne, I stated that I will not sue anyone because being sued is really suffering. So I said that at the Taiwan Lizang Temple. Doesn't matter how wrong I am, I will not file a lawsuit. And Jesus also said so, my Guru. You should love your enemies. So, love your enemies also Buddha Dharma. So simply said, across all Dharma realms. Someone asked the Tagore, the Indian poet, 3 questions. What is the simplest thing? What is the most difficult thing? And what is the greatest thing? And Tagore replied, easiest to blame someone, and recognizing yourself is the hardest. And the greatest thing is to love without asking for anything in return. So what Tagore said is what Grandmaster is talking about across all Dharma realms. Criticizing others, blaming others is the easiest thing to do. Recognizing yourself. Do you know yourself? Do you know your own thoughts? That's the most difficult. And the love who doesn't, unconditional love, the love that asks for nothing in return is the greatest, which is what the Vajra Sutra talked about tonight. It's to give without asking for anything and without any reason, without dwelling. That's the answer by Tagore. I wrote a modern poem, so I did read Tagore's poem, and he's really quite great.
非常感谢法王圣尊莲生活佛宝贵的法语开示。这张是